Hey everyone, it's Facebook Live Friday, and I'm here today to talk about food rules and how to let go of your food rules, because food rules create deprivation, restriction, and overeating. Thanks for joining me. I'm Melissa Costello, and I am the owner of Karma Chow. I am a transformational eating coach and holistic nutritionist, and I love getting on Facebook Live on Fridays to share much needed information on food, eating, dieting, all of that. So I am super excited to share my information with you. I'm sorry if I get distracted when I'm on here because all these things keep popping up on my screen. Anyway, so we have the holidays coming up, and it's one of the biggest times where we tend to let go of our rules around food. And what I have to say to that is, how about you went into Thanksgiving or the holidays with no rules at all? And what if you allowed yourself to just enjoy your time, to be present with your family, and to eat what felt good for you and what felt nourishing? Because a lot of times when we tend to be yo-yo dieters, or we tend to restrict ourselves, we'll go into the, hold on, it looked like I almost got lost there. Okay, so we'll go into the holidays thinking that we can eat whatever we want, or that we have to only eat one piece of pumpkin pie, and then what that does is create a rule, and then we feel restricted, or we feel like we can go off the handles. And the truth is, neither of those work, because that's not really honoring our bodies. So the thing about having food rules, things like, oh, I can't eat sugar, or I'm going to start on Monday, or I'll just have one and then I will start over, or what's the point? I threw it all away anyway, and this food is good and this food is bad, and I shouldn't be eating that. All of those things that we put on ourselves in terms of food rules keep us in a restricted state, and they keep us deprived, and they keep us feeling bad about ourselves. So what I want to say to you is that when you have food rules, it creates that sense of restriction and that sense of deprivation and that sense of never feeling really good around food, because we have so much judgment around it, and we tend to beat ourselves up if we eat something that we shouldn't have eaten, or something that's bad. And look, here's the thing. Food is not good or bad. Food is neutral. Food is nourishment. Food is fuel. So if you think about why food exists, it's so that we can exist. It helps us survive. It nourishes our body. It gives us health. It gives us energy. So that's all food is. And we've made it out to be evil or bad or good, or all of these things that we've labeled food as. And food is really just nourishment and fuel. So when we put all of these rules around ourselves with food, we don't really allow our bodies, we don't trust our bodies, and we don't allow our bodies to tell us what they want. Because the truth is, your body will crave healthy food and will want healthy food. It's most of the time, it's this that gets us in trouble, our mind. And we often eat from mind hunger versus physical hunger. And then we put all of these rules because we're not actually listening to our bodies, we're actually listening to our minds, right? So then we think that these rules are going to help us and keep us from getting out of control with food, but really what they do is create a sense of not being in control, because we put so much restriction on ourselves that we always feel like we're either missing out, or that we're not getting nourished, or that, whatever it is, there's some thing in our mind that really keeps us stuck in this vicious cycle when we set up all these rules for ourselves. I mean, I remember, gosh, I've had so many food rules over my lifetime. And I remember being out to eat one time with one of my best friends, and she said to me, like, you're really no fun, and it's hard to eat out with you because you have so many rules around food, and it's really annoying. And most of my rules were created because of my body image. And health came later, but originally it was because of my body image. And I created all these rules because I thought that I needed rules, otherwise I would overeat and then I would be 300 pounds, you know? And I didn't trust myself and I didn't know how to control myself. Although I don't like to look at it as control, I like to look at it as choice. And where are we making those choices from? Are we making the choice from physical hunger? Are we making it from our mind? Are we making it from our emotions? Last week on Facebook Live, I talked about emotional eating, and I hope you saw that. I had over 14,000 people watch that video, and it was incredible. And if you'd like to see it, you can get on my mailing list. You can sign up right on my Facebook page on that little sign up bar under my cover photo. And you can watch that. And also you'll get my food freedom guide, which is 7 inspired steps to help you stop emotional eating. So anyway, so all of these rules really kept me restricted and kept me stuck in this vicious cycle with food and hating myself, truthfully, because I never felt like I had a healthy relationship with food. I was always obsessing about it and overeating and then not eating. And then I just was in this vicious cycle all the time, you know, and it had so much to do with my body image and versus just really trusting my body. Because now, sorry, my wireless connection seems like it keeps going out. But being on the other side of that, I can honestly say that I don't really have any food rules anymore. Now what I have are choices that feel good for me. And what I mean by that is I choose to eat a 99% plant-based diet. I choose to eat no sugar. I choose to, or not eat sugar. I choose to not eat dairy. I choose to eat clean most of the time, barely any processed foods. And those are all my choices because my highest value for myself is health. And that's why I do what I do for a living. And also, I went through such a struggle for so long with my body image and with hating my body and with food. It was all just connected. And I just felt so imprisoned by it all. So I encourage you to let go of any rules you have around food and to start to trust yourself and to start to take steps to really listen to your body. And one of the ways you can do that is by tuning into your body's physical hunger, not its mind hunger. So it's really important that when you eat, to really check in with yourself and ask yourself, like, am I physically hungry or am I just eating because I'm stressed, bored, tired, whatever it is? So it's really important to start to check in with your body because that really will build the relationship with your body, telling it you trust it because it does want to be healthy, right? And then when we get on these cycles of eating junk food and bad food and sugar and all of those things that we tend to be drawn to, or drinking alcohol, all those things, it tends to throw us off because yes, we do get the physical cravings for it. And yes, it can be addictive and it can suck us in, you know? And now I've come to a place where if I want to have something sweet, I'll have it. And I don't have a judgment around it. I allow myself to enjoy it. And that's another tip that I have for you is to really let go of the judgment. Like if you want to have a cookie, have a cookie. Because I feel like what happens is the second we deprive ourselves and tell ourselves, no, I can't have that, then we want it more. And then we go for it and then we feel bad about it. And then we think, well, what's the point? I messed it up anyway. So I'm just going to have 5 more, right? So how many times have you done that? I know I've done that a ton of times. So this really is about learning to trust your body, letting go of any rules you have around food, including the next diet you're going to go on, the next, you know, whatever that is, like, oh, on January 1st, I'll start with X, Y, and Z resolution, or I'll just start clean again. And the truth is, it's like, how about creating a really healthy relationship to food so you don't ever have to go through that roller coaster, right? You just feed your body well and you nourish it and you give it good food so that it can actually do what it's meant to do. Because we tend to make these choices from our mind, like I said, and really clog our bodies up, and then our bodies can't tell what they want. But our bodies really want to eat healthy. They want to eat clean food. They want to be nourished. They want to be fueled. And that's really what food is here for, to give us all of that. And unfortunately, it's become one of these things that it's almost, I've talked about this before in one of my teleseminars, is that it's almost been a cultural norm for us to be on a diet, right? And dieting is just going to keep you stuck in the cycle, right? No more diets. Learn how to eat what your body needs. Learn how to relate to food in a different way. Learn how to relate to yourself in a different way. And if this is something that you feel like you really struggle with and that you would like to get support on, I offer breakthrough sessions for free that we can really look at what's keeping you stuck. And you can sign up for that on my website under my consultation page. And it's really about me supporting you and figuring out like why you've been so stuck in this cycle, right? And my website is karmachow.com, and you can go there to my consultation page. It's under Work With Me, and we can sit down and talk, and over the phone if you don't live in California or where I live, and we can talk about what's been keeping you stuck. And I also offer teleseminars and live trainings every month, and I have another live training coming up in December, and it's going to be really about how to set up a diet-free 2017 so you never have to diet again, and so you can feel really healthy around food and feel really good in your body and feel energized and vital and all of those things. So hey Jim, I try to remind myself to only view food as wholesome and not a treat. I love that. I love that. That's really great. And yeah, food is nourishment, right? It shouldn't, we, you know, oftentimes we reward ourselves with food, or we think like, I did good, I worked out, I can go eat, you know, whatever I want to eat now. But the truth is like, that's not really listening to our bodies. Again, brains, our minds, they get us in trouble all the time. And, you know, and the thing is like, it also, having so many food rules also can create overeating. And when we're overeating, we're really disrespecting our bodies. And overeating is just, I consider it a form of self-abuse, to be honest, because I used to be a binge eater, and I used to eat until I was like full up to here, and I just always felt so poorly, and then like for days I'd be recovering, and then I just felt really bad about myself. And it's so amazingly freeing to be on the other side of that and to not have these struggles with food anymore. And I encourage you to start to step by step let go of your food rules. Change your mindset. That's where this all starts, right? If you're a yo-yo dieter, if you're someone that's been struggling with food, if you're someone that's always like looking for the next thing, the next diet book. I mean, the diet book industry is a billion-dollar industry. And why? Because diets don't work. That's why the industry is so big, because diets don't work and they set you up for failure. So it's important to get right with yourself and with food. And let go of those food rules. No more food rules. Allow yourself to have what you want and don't feel bad about it. And most of the times when you allow yourself to do that, it takes away the pull of when you're saying, no, I can't have that. Because the second you say, no, I can't have that, is when you want it even more. And then if you have it after you say, no, I can't have that, then you feel bad about yourself and you feel like you failed. And you feel like, what's the point? I'm just going to have to start over now, right? And it's so black or white. We don't want the black or white rule thinking, right? We want to relate to food, as Jim here said, as, you know, nourishment, and that it's not a treat, right? And oh, Jim also said, I've also heard to keep in mind, if you're hungry for a certain item, it's not hungry. It's a craving. And yes, if you have a strong pull towards something, most of the time that's not a physical hunger. That's like an emotional hunger or a boredom hunger, or there's all these different types of hunger. And most of the time it comes from emotional and mind hunger. And when we have physical hunger, our body will be satisfied by pretty much anything, right? But if we have these cravings that are pulling us, that means most of the time that's coming from an emotional place. And one of the biggest triggers for overeating is not dealing with what's really happening on the inside. You know, I mean, our emotions can really drive us, or when we're feeling stressed out, or when we're feeling overwhelmed, or when we're feeling um, angry. You know, I mean, there's been so much going on in the world, and people are telling me how angry they feel and how they want to turn to food and all of these things. And that's not going to help us. That's just going to numb you out, right? It's important to be really present with what you're feeling and to process through it. And the food is just the crutch that you're looking for to get some sort of feeling from. So, what's the feeling you really want, right? And give yourself that, or process through whatever you need to process through to get to that feeling. So, for me, I noticed when I get stressed out or when I feel overwhelmed, if I want to go toward food, which doesn't happen very often these days, but every once in a while it will. I'm not saying that it's not going to be a lifelong journey for me, because it is. But what I do have now are tools to know what to do with that. And that's really what I teach my clients, is how to deal with those things that push us toward food and how to let go of these food rules. And if you want to learn more, you can get on my mailing list. You can set up a time to talk with me, or you can get my Food Freedom e-guide for free, and I send out all kinds of fun goodies. And you can sign up right on my Facebook page. And I'm going to be here every Friday at 1 o'clock. And I love to share all this information about, eating and dieting and not dieting and weight loss and all those things. And, the biggest culprit of weight gain is overeating, right? We're not treating our bodies well. We're overeating food. So let go of your food rules. Eat only when you're hungry, right? Physically hungry. And another tip for you is to eat when you're undistracted. So sit down, get rid of your computer, get rid of the TV, be present with your food, and eat when you're undistracted, because it's one of the biggest ways we overeat. And then when we overeat, we feel bad, and then we create a whole new set of rules, right? So we want to get rid of the rules. We want to start to relate to food in a really healthy way, where it feels good and it feels grounded and it feels connected, versus like this constant uphill struggle, And I had a client share with me the other day that she never in a million years thought that she would ever be able to stop obsessing about food. And she's in such a different place now, and she's being super mindful, and she's utilizing all the tools that I've been teaching her through my coaching. And she's actually just dropping weight without even doing anything different. She's not dieting like she used to do. She's not weighing herself every day. She's actually noticing that when she tries her clothes on, they're looser, and she feels really good. And it's because she's let go of all of this stuff that's been keeping her stuck. So before I go, one last thing. The holidays are coming up. Carmen Chow Ultimate Cookbook. This is my first cookbook. There's so many great recipes in here. You can get this on my website or go to Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get it before Thanksgiving. And there's so many great recipes, and I encourage you to cook some plant-based foods, even if you're going to have a turkey, although, I go turkey free. But I encourage you to make your side dishes healthy and, create some new traditions, because things are changing and change is good. And we get to create new traditions. We don't have to stick with what we've always done. So thanks for joining me today. I'm so happy you were here. I'll see you next Friday. And don't forget, if you want to learn more information about me or what I do, and if also you want my Food Freedom Guide, which is 7 inspired actions to help you overcome emotional eating and stress eating, you can get that by signing up for my tribe newsletter right on my Facebook page at the sign up bar. And join me next Friday, and I'll be also hosting another live masterclass training in December. So keep your eyes out for that. You guys have an awesome, awesome Thanksgiving. Woohoo! Remember, no rules. All right, guys, peace out. Bye.